Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Welcome to Faith, Lies, and Confusion. I am Godless Reggie. How's everyone doing this afternoon, this evening, depending on your location in the world? Again, I am Godless Reggie. This week's episode is entitled The Dreaming, okay? Or The Dream, depending on which variation of this particular mythology that you believe in, okay? So what this constructs of is Australian mythology, okay? So this comes directly from the Aboriginals, and I do apologize if I'm mispronouncing anything here, but this is what we're gonna talk about today. I like to speak on indigenous religious beliefs or spirituality prior to Abrahamic invasions. It's not always a thing, but I like to speak on that. So today's topic is the dreaming. So let's talk a little bit about it. As always, this is not something that I'm very educated about, so I'll be learning on the fly about this particular mythology or spirituality. Give me one moment. I'm going to pull up a little bit of information on it so I can read to you as I see it. Give me one moment. I'm going to use my favorite source, which is ChatGPT. Not saying it's always 100% accurate, but that's the first one I'm going to read from. Give me one moment. So according to ChatGPT, the dreaming, which is also a form of Australian mythology, the dreaming, often called dream time, is the core spiritual worldview of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. It is not a set of myths. It's a living framework that explains creation law, identity, and connection to country, land, sea, and sky. What is dreaming? Creation time, and ancestral beings emerge from the land, sky, or water and shape the world, forming rivers, mountains, plants, animals, and humans. Ever present. The dreaming isn't the past, it exists now, then and always, a continuing reality that people can access through ceremony, story, and place, law, and ethics. Dreaming stories encode rules for living, how to behave, marry, care for land, and relate to others. Now, as far as the ancestral beings, different nations have different stories, but some figures are widely known. The rainbow serpent, a powerful creator associated with water, fertility, and renewal. Uh, this next word, I don't want to mispronounce it, but I know I am. The Baimi, in part of Eastern Australia, a sky creator and a lawgiver. The totemic ancestors are animals, plants, and natural force beings tied to specific families and places. Song lines or dreaming tracks. The journeys of ancestral beings are mapped as song lines, which are paths across the land. By singing the songs in order, people can navigate vast distances, remember history, and keep the world in balance. Landforms are physical evidence of these journeys. The connection to country. People belong to the land. The land does not belong to people. I like that. Caring for country. Burning practices, hunting rules, ceremonies is a spiritual responsibility handed down through the dreaming. Important note, there is no single dreaming story. Australia has hundreds of Aboriginal nations, each which with its own languages, stories, and sacred knowledge. Some details are restricted or sacred and not shared publicly. Um, so far, that's what we have according to ChatGPT. I like that. Most of what I read, I like the fact that they keep their stuff to themselves, because they don't want it to get lost through other religious practices and other people that are not tribal members. I actually like that because it's a way of preserving it, right? And if they didn't do that, we may or may not be able to have this actual live stream that we're having right now about it. So I definitely like that. So I'm gonna go to a video here and see what someone else has to say about it. Because again, this is my first time hearing about this, and let's just see what YouTube has to say. Give me a moment here.
Once there was nothing, nothing but the spirit of all life. For a long time, the spirit of all life dwelt in the nothing. Then, in the mind of the spirit of life, a dreaming began. In the empty darkness, there was a dreaming fire, and the colors of fire created the darkness with spirit of life. Then came a dreaming of wind, in the mind of the spirit of life. Then came a rain. The battle of fire, wind, raged in the dreaming, and the great spirit liked the dream. So it continued. Eventually, the battle waned between wind. The calm that followed brought a dreaming of earth and sky, and of land and sea. For a long time, this dreaming continued. To grow tired of the dream, but the dream was not finished, and wanted the dream to continue. So life was sent into the dream to kneel, and for creator spirits to continue the dreaming. So the spirit of all and the secret of dreaming entered into the spirit of who is the fish. And Baramandi descended to the deep still water in the room. Into him. The dream took Baramandi waves and but he did not understand the dream and wanted to dream only the spirit of the Karaki, who is the turtle. Karaki paddled out of the waves, returned to the wet sand, and began to dream. Karaki dreamed the smoothness of pebbles and the warmth of the sun. But Karaki did not understand the dream and wanted to dream only of the waves and wet sand. So Karaki gave the secret of dreaming to the spirit of Bogai, who is the lizard. Bogai climbed into a bed of pebbles, felt the sun's heat upon his back, and began to dream. The dreaming flew Bogai through clearly, but Bogai did not understand the dream and wanted to dream only of the soft pebbles and sunshine. So Bogai ushered the secret of dreaming on the spirit of Banjil, who is the eagle, on their wings, soared in the cloudless sky, and began to dream. Banjil dreamed of the tall trees, the blanket of. But Banjil did not understand the dream and wanted to dream only of the wind and open sky. So Banjil released the secret of dreaming and began to dream. The dream sang Kunerang, the rustle of yellow grass plains. But Kunerang did not understand the dream. So Kunerang allowed it secret of dreaming to pass, and the spirit of kangaroo. Kangaroo like a bow blow contemplated the white plain kangaroo with music and song and laughter. But kangaroo did not understand the dream and wanted to dream only of the broad plains and the swaying grass. So kangaroo handed the dreaming spirit and moved across the sun was creation life by the of the man of all life. But down saw the red sun hit the horizon at dusk and began to dream. They dreamed of joining in the music of dumbbells, of dancing with the head bobbing in you, and of singing Oka the sun. They dreamed also of the laughter of. So they continued to dream, and dreamed again all the dreams that had come before. They dreamed of the deep and tranquil, of the waves and damp sand, of the rocks and sunbeams, the clear sky and breeze, and the night sky, and of the plains of yellow grass. And woman and man learned through the dreaming that all creatures were their spirit cousins, and they must protect the dreaming of all life. And they dreamed of their child, who they knew would soon arrive, dreamed of how they would teach these secrets of dreaming to his child who was not yet born. Then the great spirit of life knew at last that the secret of dreaming was safe. Being tired from the dreaming of creation, the spirit of all life entered the land to rest and recover. That is why now, when the spirits of all creatures become tired, they join the spirit of life in the land. This is why the land is sacred, and man and woman must be its caretakers, just as they protect the secret of dreaming.
Okay. So even though that's mythology, I like that video. It has a lot to do with actual evolution, right? I was really paying attention how they were saying all species are cousins. That's true to a certain extent. All animals have some common ancestor, right? Especially if we're talking mammals in particular. So it's good that they know that. I like that. Um, it makes more sense than two people coming from Adam and fucking Eve, right? That doesn't make any sense, especially if we look at science anyway. So that's actually dope. I love that. So let me do a little bit more reading. I'm gonna go to Wikipedia. I also, before I do that, there's also one thing that I really like about indigenous people, Aboriginal people, Native people. The way that they think is so simplified in a way, right? But at the same time, it's so truthful, right? What I like to tell people when I'm having debates or conversations with believers of Abrahamic religions, I tell them that they're being intellectually lazy and things like that because they're basing their reality off of a book that a man wrote. But at the same time, when you look at indigenous people, Aboriginal people, their way of thinking in their life is simple too, but just in a more realistic way because they believe in things that they can see, right? They believe in things that have meaning, that have value, that have mass, that are real. It's not so much of mytho or something that you can't see that's not involved with you, right? So I really like that. I really like that, and that makes more sense to me. I'm not saying it's true, but it makes more fucking sense, right? So let me go to Wikipedia and see what they have to say about the dreaming. Give me one moment. Thank all y'all for taking your time out today to listen to me talk and learn. Okay, so the dreaming, also referred to as dream time, is a term devised by early anthropologists to refer to religio-cultural worldview attributed to Australian Aboriginal mythology. It was originally used by Francis Gillen, quickly adopted by his colleague Walter Baldwin Spencer, and thereafter polarized by A.P. Elkin, who later revised his views. The dreaming is used to represent Aboriginal concepts of every win during which the land was inhabited by ancestral figures, often as heroic proportions or with supernatural abilities. The term is based on a rendition of the Arandic word Alcharinga, used by the Aranti, the Arunta people of Central Australia, although it has been argued that it is based on a misunderstanding or mistranslation, which I believe so. Some scholars suggest that the word's meaning is closer to eternal, uncreated. Anthropologist William Stanner said that the concept was best understood by non-Aboriginal people as a complex of meanings. Jakurpa or Tjukurpa, a widespread term used by Walpiri people and other peoples of the Western Desert Culture bloc, is sometimes also translated as dreaming. By the 1990s, dreaming is acquired its own currency in popular culture, based on idealized or fictional concepts of Australian mythology. Since the 1970s, dreaming has also returned from academic usage via popular culture and tourism, and is now ubiquitous in English vocabulary of Aboriginal Australians of a kind of self-fulfilling academic prophecy etymology. The station master, magistrate, and amateur in ethnographer Francis Gillen first used the terms in ethnographical report in 1896, along with Walter Baldwin Spencer. Gillen published a major work, Native Tribes of Central Australia, in 1899. In that work, they spoke of the Ao Chiringa as the name applied to the far distant past with which the earliest traditions of the tribe deal. 5 years later, in the northern tribes of Central Australia, they glossed the far distance age as the dream times, link it to the world our cherry meaning dream, and affirm that the term is current also among the Katekti or and Metyr. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing the words. The Al Chajira redirects here. Early doubts about the precision of Spencer and Gillen's English gloss were expressed by the German Lutheran pastor and missionary Karl Stevlow in his book 1908, Book Die Aranda, the Arente. He noted that his Arente contacts explain Altidra, also spelled Alshera, whose etymology was unknown, as an eternal being who had no beginning. The Upper Arente language, the proper verb for to dream is autajarama, literally to see God. Strethlow theorized that the noun is somewhat rare. That the noun is the somewhat rare word Alchidrinja, which Spencer and Gillen gave a corrupted transcription in false etymology. The native Strethlow concluded knows nothing of Dreamtime as a destination of a certain period of their history. Strethlow gives Altirdra or Altijra Mata meaning God, as the Arente word for the eternal creator of the world and humankind. Strethlow describes him as a tall, strong man with red skin, long fair hair, and emu legs, with many red-skinned wives with dog legs and children. In Strethlow's account, Altirra lived in the sky, which is a body of land through which runs the Milky Way, a river. However, by the time Strethlow was writing, his contacts had been converted to Christianity for decades, and critics suggested that Al-Qudra had been used by missionaries as a word for the Christian God. In 1926, Spencer concluded a field study to challenge Streslow's conclusion about Al-Qudra and the implied criticism of Gillen and Spencer's original work. Spencer found that as the stations of Altidra from the 1890s that used the word to mean associated with past times or eternal, not God. Academic Sam Gill found Streslow's use of Altidra ambiguous. sometimes describing a supreme being and sometimes describing a totem being, not necessarily a supreme one. He attributes the clash partly to Spencer's cultural evolution beliefs that Aboriginal people were at a pre-religion stage of development and thus could not believe in a supreme being, while Strevlo, uh, as a Christian missionary, found presence of beliefs in the divine as a useful entry port for proselytizing. Linguist David Campbell Moore is critical of Spencer and Gillen's Dreamtime translation, concluding Dreamtime was a mistranslation based on etymological connection between a dream and Al-Tijra, which held only over a limited geographical domain. There was some semantic relationship between Al-Tijra and a dream, but to imagine that the latter captures the essence of Al-Tijra is an illusion. Mm. That's tough shit right there. And that's the one thing that just fucking bothers me every time a particular group of people with a particular ideology come around. They always try to shape something to their fucking narrative, right? And they always try to Christianize it, or or change it, right? These people were minding their business, right? And regardless if you believe what you want, you don't have to try to make words up for things that you just don't understand. Just keep it in their language. Then it will be easier for you to make it make sense later on. You know what I mean? It's just the whitewashing is just it's irritating. It literally is irritating. But I mean, it doesn't surprise me in any way. It's that this is typical behavior, right? People invading places and then trying to set the narrative as to what's going on. I don't really appreciate that or like that, because I'm trying to get to the bottom of it and get to the truth. Because what this show is about is educational, so I want to learn as well as you do, right? So let me play another video here. We're not going to be here too long because I just read. Well, I didn't read all of it, but I read a whole lot from Wikipedia. So let's see another video from YouTube and see what we can find out.
The sky descends, the dream of By Aim. In the time before time, world lay in endless darkness, silent void without form or life. Above this barren expanse, in the celestial realm beyond mortal reach, lived By Aim, the great creator spirit, with his wife Baragnulu and his son Duramulam. By Aim, wise and powerful, looked down upon the empty earth and felt a stirring in his heart. He knew it would bring life and order to this desolate place. With determination and vision, By Aim descended from the sky, a cascade of light and energy illuminating his path. As his feet touched the barren ground, the earth trembled and transformed. His footsteps carved out majestic valleys and towering mountains, reshaping the once flat land into a canvas of natural wonders. By Aim extended his hand, and where his fingers grazed the earth, lush plants burst forth, vibrant rivers began to flow, and a multitude of animals sprang from the soil, filling the world with sound and motion. The gift of life. By Aim, surveying the burgeoning world, realized that he needed takers. Being lived and gift. With great care and precision, he molded first people, crafting their forms with loving attention to detail. Each figure was a masterpiece, with strong limbs and keen minds, ready to embrace the life By Aim had envisioned them. By Aim breathed life into these clear figures, his breath a device that awakened to consciousness in them. By-Aim spoke to them in a voice both gentle and commanding, teaching them the languages of the land and essential knowledge of hunting, gathering, and living in symbiosis with nature. He showed them how to read the signs of the seasons and understand the rhythms of the earth, ensuring they would thrive in their home. To guide them, he aimed them the sacred laws and customs, respect, harmony. Teachings were woven into the fabric of their existence, providing a moral compass and a deep connection to the spiritual world. Chapter 3: The Creation of the Sky. Though the earth was now vibrant and teeming with life, it still lay shrouded in darkness. By-Aim saw that his people needed light to see and warmth to sustain them. With a grand gesture, he reached into the heavens and placed the sun in the sky, a brilliant orb that cast its golden rays across the land. The people rejoiced, their spirits lifted as the sun's warmth kissed their skin and illuminated their world, bringing clarity and hope. As night fell, By-Aim's work was not yet complete. He adorned the sky with the moon and a myriad of stars, each one a beacon of light to guide the people through the darkness. The constellations took shape, forming pictures that told stories and held deep meanings, connecting the people to By-Aim and the cosmos. These celestial bodies became their navigational guides and keepers of time, marking the cycles of the seasons and the passage of generations. Chapter 4: By-Aim's Return to the Sky. With the world now a flourishing paradise and the sky a tapestry of light and stories, By-Aim knew his work was done. He gathered the people and spoke to them, his voice resonating with wisdom and love.
My children,
He said,
I have created this world for you. Live in harmony with the land, cherish its gifts, and follow the teachings of the dreaming. Though I return to the sky, I will always watch over you.
By-Aim ascended back to the celestial realm, but his presence remained ever present. He sent his son Duramulam to be a mediator, and wisdom and laws were upheld. The people honored By-Aim through ceremonies and rituals, their dances and songs echoing the ancient stories of creation. They built sacred sites where they believed By-Aim's spirit dwelled, places where the earth and sky seemed to. Through these rituals, they celebrated the legacy of By-Aim, ensuring that his presence remained central to their culture and their hearts. Chapter 5: The Memory of By-Aim. Thus, the earth was formed, a world of the dreaming. They remembered the story of By-Aim, the great creator who descended from the sky to bring life and light, and who watched over them from the celestial realm. People ensured that the wisdom and love of By-Aim would never fade, forever connecting them to the sacred earth and sky. Through their stories, dances, and songs, the legacy of By-Aim lived on, a testament to the enduring bond between his creation. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the captivating tale of By-Aim and the creation of the world. We hope you enjoyed this epic story and gained a deeper appreciation for the rich cultural heritage of Australian mythology. If you liked this story, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Myth.
Okay, that was a pretty good explanation. I like that was actually very thorough in comparison to the first video that we actually watched. It kind of made it seem like, well, not made it seem like, it put a creator narrative to it as a person, like as a man. The other video did not describe it in that manner, but I actually like it because it's a more thorough explanation, which is cool. So I'll do a little bit more reading about the dreaming, and then we're going to get out of here. thank you everybody for stopping by as well. Let's go to Google. Let's see what what Google says about the dreaming. Okay, so the dreaming or dream time is a foundational 50,000-year-old Australian Aboriginal worldview, representing the sacred eternal era when ancestral spirits created the land and life. It is not merely pastime, but an ongoing interconnected reality of spiritual, physical, and human worlds, guiding laws, ritual, and ecological relationships. Key aspects of the dreaming creation law. It explains the origin of the universe and provides the law, rules for behavior, morality, and social structure. Connection to country. The dreaming is deeply tied to the physical landscape with ancestral stories embodied in specific geographical features. Passed through generations, knowledge is transferred via storytelling, song, ceremony, and art. Culture and artistic context. Music albums by Kate Bush. In 1982, her 1982 experimental album, The Dreaming, addressed the struggles of Indigenous and Australians, among other themes. Literature by Barbara Wood, a historical novel exploring Australian cultural history. Film, 1988, an Australian horror film touching the metaphysical rift caused by colonial violence. Retreat Center, Charlotte Church, a wellness center focused on healing and nature. Other interpretations of dreaming. Dreaming a dream often refers to living in a state of illusion or focusing intensely on a goal, sometimes linked to subconscious. Dream in a dream, false awakening, a cognitive phenomenon where one dreams they have woken up, often occurring during REM sleep, representing a hybrid state of consciousness. Spirituality often implies connecting other higher consciousness or tapping into universal, ancestral, or subconscious wisdom. Now that I'm reading this and actually doing a little bit of homework on this, I think a lot of people get talking points from this. I don't know if they know that they are or if they don't. But a lot of their talking points, when it has nothing to do with what we're talking about, which a lot of times is Abrahamic religions, a lot of them are saying a lot of this stuff. Very interesting. I want to thank everybody for taking their time out today to learn about the dreaming with me. And thank you for stopping by. I should be back on a little bit later with Godless Dating. So check me out on that. That's going to be a once a week show as well on Sundays on my channel at Godless Reggie. And thank you again for stopping by. Good night.